Last time, we began a scenario where Vegeta and Trunks were trapped in the time chamber, eventually getting out and defeating Cell. With all the changes so far, what else is altered going forward? We'll be covering all that and more in the second part of What If Vegeta and Trunks Were Trapped. Following the very lengthy meal they have, Goku of course has some questions for Vegeta and Trunks. The two both feel very differently about getting trapped in the time chamber. For Vegeta, he's honestly pretty content right now. He got incredibly strong. As for Trunks, well, that's over like 4 years of his life that are gone now. He did get a lot stronger, but being stuck in there for that long, it's definitely not good for a person. Trunks is just glad it's finally over, and he could just go back to his timeline and wipe out the androids. Especially with the power that he has now, it's definitely more than enough. And that gets Goku curious. He wants to see that form. He briefly watched them fight and could sense it too. They're definitely way stronger than before. So Vegeta cycles through the different forms he has. They found different stages of Super Saiyan. First they got Grade 2, and then Grade 3. Both are just power stress forms. Then there's the 4th grade of Super Saiyan. This is the mastered state of Super Saiyan, and they can stay in it pretty much as long as they want. But beyond that there's another form, which Vegeta just simply calls Super Saiyan 2. A true ascended Super Saiyan. This is what he used to defeat Cell, and Trunks has this form as well. They actually have had this for a pretty long time. About halfway into that time spent in the time chamber, that's when they got this. They were basically forced to learn this because they were trying to power up in any way possible, thinking that maybe they could brute force their way out. And that did lead to some breakthroughs. They were stuck on the 2nd and 3rd grades of Super Saiyan for so long, but at some point they finally got the mastered state, and eventually this to go beyond. And of course Goku wants to test out the power, so he and Vegeta fly off the lookout not too far away and begin fighting in the middle of the sky. Vegeta beats him really quickly. Goku doesn't even stand a chance. He definitely wants to learn more about this form, and Vegeta's pretty happy right now. He just beat Kakarot, and he seems to be the strongest person here by far. Trunks is pretty close though, but once he's gone, it's just going to be Vegeta at the top. After recuperating from all that time spent in there, Trunks spends some time relaxing and eventually goes back to his timeline, thanking everyone for their help. He does actually have the remote to destroy the androids, but he doesn't even need it. He could destroy them with his own power, and he now knows about Cell too. He departs, and pretty much right when he gets back, he encounters androids 17 and 18. The fight's even easier than normal. They're defeated with pretty much no effort, and of course, he knows to look out for Cell, eventually defeating him when he shows up. Also, pretty easily. We'll see more of Trunks later on though, especially in regards to how all this has affected him, both in terms of power and mentality. We're more so focused on Vegeta right now. So, back to the present timeline. Another thing that happened during this time is the fact that Android 16 is alive still. Bulma ended up fixing him and removing the bomb as well, on top of also removing all of the Kill Goku programming. It's not like he likes Goku now, but definitely better than him trying to kill Goku. It's pretty strange to Bulma. She sees that he's a very gentle android, at least compared to what she heard about 17 and 18. Speaking of, those two have been revived. There was a wish made to revive everyone killed by Cell, which included the two of them. And Krillin made the wish to remove their bombs as well. Krillin really didn't like the fact that they had to kill 18, and thankfully Goku was the one to do it, but at least now she's back. Anyways, back to Android 16, he basically becomes security for Capsule Corp. And Bulma has a lot of fun upgrading him. Considering he's fully mechanical, he's really intelligent. And she's able to fix the issues Dr. Gero had with him, but also keeping the more gentle side of him. Also, she tries to make him more fond of everyone around him. Even though that programming was removed, he still is intelligent. He knows that he initially was programmed to kill Goku. And Bulma's able to work with him a bit more, making it so he doesn't have any of that. Mainly at the request of Goku because he wants to use Android 16 to train. Vegeta's way above him, and of course the two of them are sparring and fighting a lot. But so is 16. 16 is still stronger than Goku right now, especially because Bulma did make a little bit of an upgrade to him. Mainly at Vegeta's request. But he's the perfect training partner. He has infinite energy, and Goku can see him whenever he wants. Plus, with how intelligent he is and all the data he has, he actually is really good as a teacher for Goku. So Goku makes use of this in order to grow even stronger than before. The irony isn't lost on him either. The android made to kill him is now the one helping to empower him. As for the other two, they don't really see much of 17 and 18, pretty much like normal. Goku and Gohan of course don't use the time chamber, they don't really have a need to right now. Gohan isn't really training as seriously since he also has no reason to do that. Goku of course tries to help him keep up, and he does to an extent, so it's not like he's growing weaker, but he's growing pretty slowly, if at all. Goku doesn't really want to get in his way either. He does want to try and get Gohan to access Super Saiyan at least, because that was kind of the plan. He was really excited for that. At least now they don't have to use the time chamber for that, and they could just train on the outside. Now we go more into the 7-year time skip, so a lot of what I just said still happens. Goku and Vegeta continuously spar, Goku trains a lot with Android 16, Gohan still isn't training as much, but at some point he does get Super Saiyan and masters it, but he doesn't go beyond it. So Gohan is stronger than before, but when comparing him to the regular series, yeah, he's weaker. He doesn't have Super Saiyan 2 and is below his normal self. Still, he does become the Great Saiyaman and ends up meeting Videl in the process. He's training just enough to keep up and at least power up a little bit. As for Vegeta though, it's the exact opposite. He keeps training really seriously. He wants to stay the strongest and he likes where he is. And he's also curious if he can go even beyond where he is right now. He's not really too sure, but he feels like there's gotta be some stage above Super Saiyan 2, like maybe a Super Saiyan 3 or something. Vegeta never did lose motivation to fight because he went beyond Super Saiyan. He was the first one to do so. And he was able to defeat Cell. He never had his pride crushed. And as the number one, he wants to stay as the number one. And he's continuously improving. Vegeta needs to widen the gap even further. Goku eventually does get Super Saiyan 2 over this time, but it's a few years into the time skip. Vegeta's had it for a while and still is ahead in terms of power, both in Super Saiyan 2 and even in base or Super Saiyan. But Vegeta's more motivated than ever, and he has plenty of opportunities to test out his power, especially against Goku and even Android 16. Bulma does continue upgrading him for Vegeta, making him a lot stronger and giving him more things that he could utilize, like even implementing mechanical regeneration and new weapon systems. It's pretty fun for Bulma to work on, and it makes for better training for Vegeta and Goku. He's far more advanced than before, not just in terms of power, but the technology that he has too. We'll be seeing some more of him later on, but the World Tournament's coming up, and he's not really involved here because, well, I guess technically they could enter him, but he has no desire to, they have no reason to enter him, so he's not here at the tournament. Although, it would have been pretty perfect if he were here, because of course, Babidi's goons are there. And imagine them trying to steal energy from Android 16. He'd be the perfect counter to that. But the target for Spopovich and Yamu is different. They're told to target either Goku or Vegeta. Ideally Vegeta because he is the stronger one. The first few matches go pretty normally, and then we get to a fight between Goku and Vegeta. Of course, both are equally pumped up. But the two of them hear a voice in their heads. It's Shin and Kibito, telling them to power up to their maximum. They want to fight how they want. But Shin keeps trying to convince them, which is weird, but, you know, they decide to do it. It might be fun to go all out from the start. So they both go Super Saiyan 2. Then Spopovich and Yamu jump in, stealing energy from Vegeta, and he's paralyzed by the Kais. Of course, Goku's going to try and intervene, but Shin and Kibito tell him to stop. But he's not going to listen to them. He tries to help Vegeta. But Shin grabs onto Goku and teleports him outside of the ring. He tells him to just watch. They need to do this. Vegeta's power grows more, and he breaks free from the paralysis. Thankfully, he doesn't know that Shin and Kibito were responsible because otherwise he would attack them. But he is still pretty angry because they didn't seem to want to intervene and they stopped Kakarot for some reason. He goes to attack Spopovich and Yamu, but Kibito pleads for Vegeta to wait. Of course, Vegeta's really angry right now. He wanted to have his fight with Goku, and Goku is equally annoyed. More so Vegeta because he was the one who had his energy stolen. But Kibito heals him up. They're going to follow those two, and they'll explain on the way. So, alongside the two Kais, Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, and even Krillin end up leaving. And they're given the rundown about what's happening and why they need to follow Spopovich and Yamu. One thing Vegeta's confused on is how he was frozen in place. Was that one of their powers? Well, Shin lies on the spot. Yeah, that was one of Spopovich's powers. Probably from Babidi. Good. Vegeta specifically wants to kill the person who froze him in place like that. Both Shin and Kibito turn pale. They gotta make sure he doesn't find out they're responsible. There's probably a better way to go about this plan. They arrive at the ship and eventually encounter Deborah. The first person to try and fight Deborah is Goku, showing off Super Saiyan 2, glad to face an opponent that's on his level and isn't Vegeta. Deborah is pretty strong, probably the strongest villain that he's fought yet. The last villain he fought was semi-perfect Cell, and at that point in time, Cell was really strong in comparison to him, but compared to Deborah, he's not really much. They never did get to see his perfection. Anyways, Deborah fights Goku, and Babidi feeds the energy to Boo. Right now he has about 80% of the power that they need. He didn't realize they got that close, but they just need a little more. Unfortunately, it seems like Goku's trying to make this fight quick, especially because the two Kais are involved, and they're definitely telling him to not waste time. So, he needs to figure out something quick, before Deborah is defeated. Babidi then tries to possess Vegeta. Not gonna work this time. Vegeta's content with who he is now, and has no reason to get possessed. He doesn't need the extra power at all. He decides to step in too. If Babidi's trying to possess him, he's probably getting really desperate. He tells Kakarot to just finish the fight because he is spending a little bit of his time enjoying it. So Goku gets ready to kill Deborah, but Babidi gives Deborah a new directive. He tells him to stop fighting Goku, lead them into the ship. Deborah makes an escape, and of course he's chased down. But now that they're in the ship, Babidi begins warping everything in there, teleporting Vegeta and Deborah around in order to get them alone. He warps everyone around the ship just to confuse them, and then tells Deborah when it's time to strike. Deborah hits Vegeta with some of his spit, and he begins turning to stone. The rest of the group bursts to the ship and finds him, and they see Deborah holding on to the petrified Vegeta, taking him as a hostage, being teleported down to Babidi once more. The group flies down to the bottom of the ship, but by the time they're there, it's already too late. With Vegeta trapped in stone, Babidi was able to take more energy from him, with Deborah quickly releasing the petrification, and then Babidi immediately stabbing Vegeta. Deborah tries to freeze Vegeta again, but before he can, Vegeta grabs onto his neck, instantly powering up into Super Saiyan 2, and killing Deborah right on the spot. Babidi scurries over to Boo's egg, feeding the rest of the energy to him, but then he's killed by a blast from Vegeta. Vegeta's really furious right now, but he at least finally got rid of those two, although something seems wrong. Boo's egg begins erupting steam. The rest of the group gets down there, and they see Vegeta's fine. Well, besides the stab wound in his side. Kibito heals him once more. and Shin watches on in terror because now it seems like Boo's getting revived. But Goku and Vegeta aren't too worried. Vegeta says Babidi didn't really think this through. He alone had enough energy to revive Boo. And sure, Boo is probably stronger than the amount of energy that got stolen from him. But the point is, Vegeta's a powerhouse, and they haven't even seen his full power yet. At least for all the new people around here. Goku, Piccolo, and Krillin are pretty familiar with it. So they watch as Boo gets revived. He doesn't really seem too intimidating at first, but he clearly is really strong. Not a problem though. Goku puts a hand in the air, launching a blast that destroys the entire ship as they all fly out, with Boo following them. Vegeta says this fight might be a little tough, but he's sure that with his full power, he can defeat Boo. He just might need Goku to buy some time. And Goku knows exactly what he's talking about. What, doesn't Vegeta want to try and fight this guy first? And yeah, while it's tempting, Vegeta doesn't really want to deal with these people anymore. He's had enough magic for today. He doesn't know what to expect from this guy, and he just wants to get it over with. Especially because he's in a pretty bad mood and would rather just take it out all at once. That's fine with Goku. He just wanted to double check to make sure Vegeta didn't want to have any more fun. And he begins fighting Boo alone. Meanwhile, Vegeta begins charging power for himself. He turns to the Kais. Super Saiyan 2 isn't his limit. Over the time skip, he's gone far beyond that. Kakarot's trying to reach this form as well, but hasn't had much luck. But this form isn't perfect either. There is a pretty glaring issue with the ki drain. Although Vegeta's had it for long enough now to know about it and at least have some ways to mitigate it. So it's not perfect, but hey, at least he has a chance to show off here. Vegeta then transforms, showing off his new power, Super Saiyan 3. He needs some time to charge ki. That's exactly what Goku's buying time for right now. You know, it's kind of a shame he doesn't get to fight Boo, but again, he is pretty annoyed right now. Plus, this is the perfect chance to test run Super Saiyan 3 against an enemy. Piccolo's pretty surprised to see this. Goku and Vegeta are actually working together and not getting in each other's way. He would have expected Vegeta to be much more greedy and just take the fight for himself. Goku's not really doing too much to Boo, but thankfully he's a good distraction. He turns back to Vegeta and sees that he seems to be ready. So Goku then creates a couple rings of energy, throwing them around Boo, trying to hold him in place and distract him a little bit longer. Then at the very last second, he jumps out of the way. Vegeta launches a massive beam of energy, a Gamma Burst flash. The second Boo is hit by it, he's completely wiped out. There's nothing he could regenerate from either. The beam flies far out into space, and all that's left is a massive crater where Babidi's ship once was. Plus, the trail following Vegeta's beam. That was fun for Vegeta. He was really curious as to where his full power was, and that was the only time he could test it. The two Kais can't believe what they just saw. And with that, we'll leave off here for now. What'd you guys think about this part, and what's going to happen next? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel, and it shows me you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.